Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Great that you're here tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what we'll call it hacks, wellness hacks for the holiday season. We could call it fitness. We could call it immune, right? All that immunity, all that stuff plays a role in it. We're fortunate to have Kevin Miles on with us tonight. For those of you who don't know Kevin, bodysport.coach. If you go there, you can get so many resources about fitness. I was thinking about it today, Kevin. I started my wellness, really focused wellness and health journey 33 years ago. You were training people like a decade before I even started.
You're
so,
saying I'm old.
I, you're only what, a year or two older than me, right? So I'm not definitely not going to say you're old. As we take you through some stuff tonight, and Kevin's going to do a lot of the practical tips, and I'm going to share more of the supplement side of things as we go through it, but we might bounce around a little bit. And as we're talking about some practical ideas, if you have something that's really cool that's worked for you, don't hesitate to put it in the chat as we go. We are going to move as quick as we can. Both Kevin and I are a little tangential, right? We could go off into storyland at any time. So, we'll do our best to kind of tamp that down just a little bit, but, it's going to be what it is. We just hope it serves you and whoever may watch this recording. And if you're new to us and you're watching this, whether you're live or on the recording, anything we mention from a product perspective, make sure you talk to the person who invited you to hear about this tonight, because the stuff you're going to hear could really help you a lot. So I'm gonna quickly jump into the immune side first, just to move that out of the way. A lot of the practical stuff that Kevin's going to do would support the immune side anyway, but I'm gonna move through with a couple thoughts, perspective, and then touch on a few products, and then we'll get to the other, the meat and potatoes that Kevin is gonna really give us. But the holiday season, if you think about it, a lot of people get sick in the holiday season. There's really nothing worse than getting sick at the holidays. Actually, the last time I personally was sick that I can remember, and when I say sick, I mean sick like you're down, right? You're out of commission. That's what sick is to me. The last time I was actually really sick, I believe, was 2017. Now, I can't remember the last time I had a cold. It's been way, way longer than that. But 2017, I got sick at the holidays, and I got sick at the holidays because I left the house and it came on, and I was gone an entire day and evening, and I didn't have any of my tools, which I will share with you, which is one of the reasons I rarely get sick. But if you think about it, people get sick at the holidays. 9 out of 10 Americans they have metabolic dysfunction. And you can read that very simply as they're immune compromised. And so when you are in the holidays, you're around lots of people. I mean, in close proximity with lots of people in lots of different environments. And even if you are highly diligent, as a general rule, you're around people that are not. And so you're getting all kinds of exposure to all kinds of things. And so as a general rule, people get sick during the holidays. Their vitamin D level is already very low. As a nation, the vitamin D level is low. But it gets even lower around the holiday season. Kevin, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Uh, and so you got the vitamin D issue. You got people are a lot more stressed around the holidays. There's a lot of mental health challenges around the holidays because it can be sad for lots of folks who have people don't sleep their typical patterns. They're eating all kinds of different foods. There's more alcohol consumption. All those things lend itself to reduced immunity, which opens people up to getting sick. And I'm a freak about time. And I look at health from the perspective of time frequently. Like, what is a day worth? What is a week being sick worth to you to not have that? And that the key is to be proactive, right? Yeah. Are there ways to get a hold of it afterwards? Sure. Yeah, you can you can mitigate as it's climbing on you, but if it gets too far in, then there's really not much you can do but just let it run its course. So I'm gonna real quick give you a few immune products that are really, really great to have on hand and to be using all the way through the holiday season. I certainly do. I mentioned I really haven't been sick since 2017. That was kind of a fluke. I did get COVID, but I didn't get sick from COVID. I had no symptoms from COVID, and I was using everything I'm going to mention in therapeutic levels. So I'm not telling you I'm not just making a health claim. I'm just telling you the truth. That's just the reality of what happened to me. But the products you want to have on hand or that can really help you, obviously you want to maintain basic nutrition, right? And if you are someone who has done the MR program and you've really cleaned out your cells, then you're going to be in the best situation possible to stay strong. But you want to at least be maintaining basic nutrition, things like biobasics and gold and a little more vitamin D. But vitamin D is one of the key ones to be upping in the holiday season. DNA Immune, which is literally protects you at the DNA level. It's a very powerful product for both viral and antibacterial impacts for your body. Cat's Claw, which is tremendous as from an antiviral perspective. And that's the product that historically, when I've been in a situation where I could feel something coming on, I could knock it out before it got root by taking high levels of Cat's Claw. That was the product I didn't have access to when I got sick in 2017. And then Zinc Boost, fantastic. Those lozenges are incredible. It's very difficult for a virus to replicate in the presence of zinc. That's just the way it is. That's why it's such a, not to mention it does a lot of other things for your immune system. And then colloidal silver, which is a tremendous natural antibacterial, and it doesn't harm beneficial bacteria. It only eradicates bad bacteria. And that product actually, you won't be able to get it for a couple months once it starts because it comes in a glass bottle. So they don't typically ship it in January and February because it'll freeze. So the time actually to get that product is over the next few weeks to make sure you have it over the holidays. And then as it relates to usage of those, use them as labeled as a normal course. Elevate at times of high exposure. Like I'll take 5 zinc boosts a day, but if I'm going to be around a lot of people, I'll take 10. I'll take 5 in the morning and 5 in the evening. Or I'll take another handful of DNA Immune. I'll take another handful of Cat's Claw. I'll just elevate things. And then if in fact you feel something coming on, and again, if your system is clean, if you've been paying attention, you're one of the 1 out of 10, which a lot of our community is. They're the 1 out of 10 that is not in the compromised situation. You can tell, you can feel it, like you know that something's crawling on you. And if you hit that hard with high levels of DNA or Cat's Claw, you wake up the next morning and it won't be there. That probably happens 4 or 5 times a year. I mean, in these last 7, 8 years, what have I done? Maybe 500 in-person live events with lots of people to not get sick. I mean, I'm not Superman. That's the products. That's the power of using these kinds of products and taking care of your wellness. So, Kevin, we're going to jump into the weight fitness kind of wellness journey hacks. And obviously one of the best things you could do running into the holidays, if you really want to stay on track, is do the MR program. A bunch of people be doing it between December 1st and the 21st or 22nd. Nobody's doing it over Christmas. Everybody wants to play in that week, but that really helps keep you on track, not to mention resets your baseline. And makes that last week not so damaging. So, Kev, I'm going to hand the floor over to you, my friend. I tried to be
Thank you,
fast there.
thank you. So yeah, the holiday season. First thing, not everyone's worried about weight and weight management, and just understand it is okay to take some time off to enjoy family, enjoy foods, and that's a common thing for mentally, emotionally, and just your health and resetting your hormone system. So, 1 or 2 meals or even 1 or 2 days of eating is not going to like derail you. So don't feel guilty. You're not a bad person because you went out and enjoyed some food. But just be aware because this time of year, starting from like pretty much October to the end of the year, 80% of the unwanted weight that we gain throughout the year happens during that time period. So it's not those couple of meals or couple of days, it's everything else around it. So by staying aware, maybe you don't like what the scale says, but it's better to know what it says. Because if you get on it and it says that you're 5 to 6 pounds up, then you know that and you have a chance to do something about it as opposed to not knowing it. And that 5 to 6 pounds up becomes 10 to 11 pounds up. So having that awareness is going to help you. As far as those specific days, well, let's just backtrack a little bit. Like it starts a little bit with Halloween. If you still have Halloween candy around your house, toss it, throw it, give it to your worst enemy, and watch him or her like gain some weight. It's not helping you anymore. It's if you can't stay out of it, it's just a good thing to get rid of. Um, when it comes to Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite days and one of the favorite days in the bodybuilding industry, we look forward to it, and it's like your manhood is made up based on how many servings of dessert you have. So it's not necessarily a negative thing, but you can do a lot of damage there if you're not ready. One thing that people try to do is to say they'll change what they normally do to try to accommodate that day. Say, well, I just won't eat all day, or I'll just not eat very much for a couple of days going into that. And that doesn't work because your body doesn't really want to get lean, but your body will fight against you, and it'll produce a couple of hormones, leptin and ghrelin. And what those hormones do is one will make you feel hungrier than you normally feel, and the other one actually causes you to feel full, and it will reduce its production of that, so you don't feel full as fast. And that's a perfect storm if you're like going all day without eating, or you're just like, I'm not going to go into this and eat very much. And I'll give you an example of that. It's like I was visiting a buddy of mine in Austin, and we went out to eat. And I hadn't been eating that much, that prior week, just being out of my normal pattern. And we went out to eat, and I left the restaurant, and I'm like, dude, I was so full. It was just uncomfortable. It was like, I said, I am never eating another bite of food the rest of my life. It was like, it was that bad. And I'm like, how could I eat that much? Because I didn't feel it because I wasn't, getting that normal full feeling early enough. It was just from the food. And so we're walking around Austin. It's like, like two fat spiders trying to climb up a wall. It was like that bad, that uncomfortable. And that lasted for about an hour. And then it was like, some carrot cake kind of sounds good right now. And it just switched back on that fast. So that strategy of not eating is just going to cause you to eat more that day than you normally would. And it's going to shoot your blood sugar very high. And that's going to crash you out. And it's not the tryptophan in turkey that's making people sleepy. Tryptophan is an essential amino acid. It's in everything. It's just that blood sugar crash from eating that big meal. And now your body's pushing it back down. So you eat all that food and you're crashing out and your body's trying to store it. And then you wake up and someone says pumpkin pie. You're like, oh, yeah, you're the first one in line. So try to eat the way you normally would eat throughout the day, throughout the week. And that way you're going to have and do less damage. And when I talk about eating, if you're not familiar with eating, it's better to have meals than snacks. And a meal is defined by a meal has structure, and every meal should have a serving of protein. Protein is what your body's made of. Protein is slower digesting than carbs and fats. Protein will help stabilize your blood sugar. So if you're eating protein foods, and turkey is a great protein food, then you're not going to get the same blood sugar spikes. You're not going to get the same swings. You're not going to get the same cravings. So by eating some protein throughout the day, as you normally would, you're going to have more control. So when you do eat and you go eat for fun, you're not going to overeat as much, and it's not going to affect you quite as much. So that's one thing that you can do from a strategy standpoint. So don't say, I'll just starve yourself all day and eat. That's just going to make it worse for you. If you're the person you belong to a gym, holiday seasons, the hours of the gym is going to change. And as someone that managed Gold's Gym for 8 years, it amazed me how many times people would show up, when I'm just closing up their gym, we're just closing up the gym, and they're ready to train. And I'm like, oh, you guys closed early today? I'm like, you didn't see the 73 notices we had up the last 2 weeks telling you we're going to close early? And so they're mad. And like, it's like, so there's going to be holiday hours if you're in a facility that you're training at. And it's even worse if once I wasn't working at the gym and I'm out, I'm one of the people training, and I can't count how many times I'm walking out at a gym that's just closed at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and there's people still pulling up in the parking lot, gym bag over the shoulder, all fired up on a pre-workout, ready to train. And I'm like, dude, you like it's closed now. You can't go in there. Next thing you know, they're doing jumping jacks and push-ups and sprints in the parking lot because they're trying to burn off that pre-workout. So be aware of what's happening from a scheduling standpoint with your gym, because the schedule is going to change. You don't necessarily have to do extra workouts to accommodate what you're doing, but if you have the time, you have the room, yeah, add a little bit extra as far as your cardio goes. Add a little bit extra as far as you know a little more length to your workout if you have that extra time in your schedule anyway. But you don't have to punish yourself. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to like say, "Oh, I ate all this much, so I got to work out, extra 2 hours of cardio this week, or I got to like work out half an hour longer." The body's pretty resilient, and if you just give it and do its normal things, then it's going to recover pretty fast. And one of the main things is always get back on the horse. So if you have a bad, eating day or two, or if you miss some workouts because you're traveling or whatever, that's fine. It's going to self-correct as long as you just get back on course and get back to your normal things that you would be doing, and your body's going to recover from that pretty fast. But that's part of that awareness. If you know what's going on and you're keeping aware of jumping on the scale and seeing what it says, then you see, okay, I'm up a few pounds. Yeah, you understand why. You don't have to go starve yourself the days after that. Just get back to how you're normally eating, and your body's going to self-correct. It's going to get rid of that water. It's going to go start burning those extra calories. Your metabolism is actually going to be a little bit faster, and it's going to get back to baseline. In fact, when Todd was talking about the MR program, one of the first things you do before you go into strict phase is you have a couple days of basically loading and eating extra food, because that primes your metabolism for fat burning. And I talk about in my book, one of the best ways to lose weight is to gain a little bit weight first. And it swings that pendulum one way, and now the body's ready to swing it back the other way. So that Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving that you ate all that food, that's actually a good time to start something like the MR program. And you got, more than 21 days before Christmas comes. And like Todd said, it gives you that structure. And at the same time now, like your body's ready to like lose that, your mind's ready to lose that weight, and it's a good time for you. The other thing I will mention is alcohol, and it's one of those things that, again, it's not like you can't have it. It's just how much can you have before it's going to get to be a problem. The issue with alcohol is a couple of things. One, it's just calorically dense. So a gram of alcohol has 7 calories versus a gram of protein has 4, grams of carb has 4, and fats has 9. So it almost has as much calories, as fats do. And the body doesn't really know what to do with alcohol or how to process it effectively. So it basically shuts down its normal calorie burning processes to focus on the alcohol. So instead of you burning the other calories you would normally be burning the way you would, it's now trying to process and get rid of that alcohol. And a lot of it just converts into fat. So again, doesn't mean you can't have it, and some people can have more than others, but just being aware of that. What I try to give my clients as a visual is think of every alcohol serving, every glass of wine you have, think of it as a liquid donut. So you have that glass of wine, it's like a donut in a glass. Now, does that mean you can't ever have a donut? No, but how many donuts are you going to have before you realize, okay, I can't keep having these donuts? So maybe one, maybe two, one a week, two a week. That's one thing. Yeah, 1 or 2 a week, that's probably not going to do anything. 1 or 2 a day, that might be a problem. 1 or 2 an hour, something's going on. So it's that awareness of what's going on in terms of what alcohol does to you in terms of how it can delay your normal fat burning, and then just the extra calories that it has, and then just you managing it and just being aware of it. So if you're aware of what you're doing, then you can say, okay, this is too much, this is not enough. And that awareness is key. And I know people don't like the scale, and I get it. You don't want to attach yourself emotionally to a number that you see. And so when people are trying to lose weight, because the scale's not always going to change, we actually have a weight range, not just one specific weight, and we're going to fluctuate within that range. But when in terms of if you're gaining, if it's going up, you want to know that because then you have ability to stop it. So if it's not going down when you're trying to diet, you understand that's you can use pictures, you can use measurements, and just it's not linear progress anyway. It's going to take some time, and so that's okay. But don't get upset if you're not always losing. If you're gaining, doesn't mean you're a bad person or a weak person or a wrong person, but just being aware of it gives you the ability to do something about it, gives you the ability to say, okay. And because if you don't know why, say, well, gee, I stopped eating already. I'm still going up. Say, oh, well, maybe look, I need to look at this a little closer. Or, I jump on the scale and I know how I ate the last few days. Say, yeah, that makes sense. But you get back to normal and it's going to start being normal. But
Hey,
if you
Kev.
never look at it, then you get to the point where it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep eating, no big deal. And you don't want to be self-defeating or in terms of, oh, well, I blew it now. I might as well keep going and keep eating and doing this and doing that. And no, it's not. You didn't blow it. You're not the bad person because you had some fun food. You're not a bad person because the scale changed on you. It's just getting back in control of it so that you're back in the driver's seat again. And that's that awareness, and that's just having that ability to make changes for yourself.
Kev, can I jump in on the alcohol
Of
before you go to
course,
the next?
please do, please do.
So, I love the part you say about your body doesn't know what to do with it, right? And I love the liquid donut. I think the liquid donut is awesome. But most people are going to have if you drink alcohol, unless you don't drink alcohol at all, you're going to have cocktails during the holiday, right? There's no doubt about that. And sometimes maybe a few too many, right? That's going to happen. So a few hacks for you. One here, this is an idea, and maybe you already know it, but if you know you're going to have more than one drink, drink at least 8 ounces of water between each drink. That will minimize how much you actually drink because you'll get a little bit bloated, but will also keep you hydrated and reduce some of the negative impact. And then the other thing, from a supplement perspective, and these are some of my product hacks for alcohol. If because Kevin talked about your body doesn't know what to do with it. So it's going to use resources because it's like poison, right? It's going to use resources to try to get rid of it. And it's going to deplete your calcium, your magnesium, your B vitamins. So if you know you're going to have cocktails, you're going to drink some wine, you're going to whatever, you're going to have some fun. And if it's just one cocktail, that's not so big a deal. But if you know it's going to be more, and let's be real, for a lot of people, it's going to be more. And that would include me sometimes, right? So then the night you're going to do it, take a handful of brain formula and a handful of CalMag. Those two products will significantly help you because they're going to give you your body resources to begin getting rid of it that evening. And so it will significantly help you that evening. In the morning, besides your regular whatever you do, the things that will really help you if you went a little bit too far would be evening primrose oil. Evening primrose oil is fantastic for helping your body recover. And then the B products, Be Sustained and Be Focused. The Be Sustained, the electrolytes, the Be Focused, it just gives you energy, which helps you burn through it a little bit. But those are just some magic tricks for you that are very, very effective. So I'm sorry, Kevin, I wanted to get that out there. So I have to circle back later since you talked about alcohol.
No, that's perfect. And like Todd was saying, like it's fitness is great, but health comes first. And even if you're trying to on a weight loss, weight management program, you still have to nourish your body. And the better you eat in terms of servings of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables and staying away from processed foods and all those different things in general is going to serve you very well in terms of giving your body the nutrients and staying healthy. I personally don't think you can get everything you need from an optimal standpoint from that. And so that's why we talk about the nutritional supplements and we use them. And like Todd, I'm that person that doesn't get sick because I nourish my body very well with what I consider the best in the world. So that's a big thing in terms of just being healthy and then you're in a base of being able to do the things you wanted to do. And one other quick hack I'll have for Thanksgiving, because I love Thanksgiving, but and in my family sometimes there's multiple types of desserts. And it's okay, I had this kind of pie, but I want to have that kind of pie too. But I'll still hack it with, but I'm going to eat some protein first. So I'll have a little bit of turkey before I eat that to help stabilize my blood sugar, one. And two, now I'm going to eat less pie than I probably would have eaten. So yeah, it's a day where I'm eating a lot of calories and this and that, whatever. But after a while, it's like you're not going to do that all the time, and you're not going to do that, and one thing I'll mention, if you have the option of being, if you don't have the option of not being the food preparer, and you get to go somewhere, then you go there and you're eating and you're doing your thing, and then you're going home and don't take any food with you, and then it's done, right? If you are the food preparer, send as much food out as you possibly can with your guests, so that you're not having it around calling your name. And yeah, obviously you want some meals and stuff like that, but it gives you some more control as opposed to that's just always there. Just avoiding those traps, I call them. Because me, if there's something around that I really like, I'm going to be in it. It is what it is. And I know that about myself. So it's better if, like, here, take this with you. Yeah, see you later. So they appreciate it, and, like, better you than me sometimes. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's better than throwing it away, and people appreciate that, and just having some kind of control over it. And you may not have that situation, so just double down on the healthier things. Making, if you're going to try everything, try everything. But again, whatever you do, don't emotionally beat yourself up. Your body's very resilient. You can get back on track, and there's different ways and methods to do that. So just a few tips for you, to hopefully help you going into the holidays.
Kat, I want to piggyback on a couple things you just mentioned about if you're the food preparer, right? And you're preparing the food and you're gonna have lots of the fun stuff that you're making. Instead of snacking on that fun stuff while you are preparing, which you're tempted to do, also prepare something that's relatively healthy. Now, granted, if you're just going to say, I'm just going all in today, just go all in. But if you're trying to be a little bit conscious, make something relatively healthy in addition, a snack that's relatively healthy, and that way you can pick at that while you're making food. Same is true if you're going to go to a social event and you don't control what's there, but you bring something, bring a healthy option. That way you'll have access to that healthy option. And water. Stay hydrated. I mean, half the time the population thinks they're hungry when they're actually thirsty anyway. But the more hydrated you are, the less hungry you are. I mean, that's just it's one of those simple little things, but it really, and if you want to make sure you don't overeat a meal, drink a big glass of water 20 minutes before you eat. That will make a significant difference in how much food that you eat. Kev, that was great. That was great stuff. I know we could go on. We could do this for an hour, but we're trying to be conscious of people's time tonight. I did want to throw a few other product hacks in for you that are very useful for the holidays. One, Carol dropped in the chat, and Doc Welliver piped in the Phazoline, which starts with the PH, Phazoline Forte. This is an incredible, it's almost not fair. This product is almost not fair, because this is truly, it's an extract from kidney beans. You can't get this effect from eating kidney beans. You have to actually get the full load of the extract. But it blocks the enzyme that breaks a complex carbohydrate into a simple carbohydrate, right? So your body can't absorb a complex carbohydrate into the bloodstream. It has to break it down, and it uses amylase to do that. The starch blocker is the Phazoline Forte. It essentially blocks that enzyme. So if you're going to have breads, which you are, if you're going to have cake, which you are, if you're going to have pie, which you are, if you're going to, right? I mean, you are. If you got potatoes, maybe pasta, depending on, what your spread is. If you take Phazoline 20 minutes before you eat, and you can look it up on the product sheet, it'll tell you exactly the specifics of the range. It will make those complex carbohydrates like an insoluble fiber. Boom, they'll just keep going. You will not break them down. You will not digest them. You will not get the calories. It's like cheating. It's a cheap product, but it's one of the greatest. Another one is a product called Slenderline, which Kelly Millington raves about this product. It's such a great product. This is not only is it the Rolls Royce of metabolic conditioning products, but it is a tremendous appetite suppressant product. I mean, some people who take it like they're like, I'm never hungry. I'm like, well, that's not actually totally good, but I mean, it's that good a product. So that is a product that you can use to keep your metabolism moving and to help suppress appetite a little bit. And then two other quick products that you could actually use together. One is Cogulan. Cogulan is it's probiotics and fiber. It's essentially the probiotics and fiber that's in the biobasics, but it's in a separate product, and it's completely tasteless. So it doesn't have any taste at all. But getting more fiber in your system, if you use that a couple times a day, it's going to minimize how much you eat. It's also going to move things through faster so that you reduce the opportunity to keep that in your system and break it all down. So it moves it through a little faster. And it's important to keep the fiber up. And then the last little product hack for tonight is the product Ketonic, which is another fabulous little powder. It's in the superfoods range because we call the superfoods by the colors. So there's the purple, the green, the yellow, and the brown, and this is the pink. Ketonic is the pink. But while it does many different things, I mean, it's a tremendous product, and you could mix it with the Cogulan, and that's how you could use both of them. It also reduces appetite. So that's just another little product hack. We didn't want to keep you more than 30 minutes. We did pretty darn good, especially given that it's the two of us. Kev, thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom.
My pleasure.
We'll post this in the Facebook group, and once I've cleaned it up tomorrow. And then if you have more questions or ideas, or put them in there. If you have hacks, put them in there, right? But put them in the thread that the video comes. That way it can be a giant resource for everybody in the community to learn from. Kev, thank you so much. Thanks y'all for being here tonight. Happy holidays to you. See y'all.
Happy holidays, you guys.
Good night.